Hi everyone, welcome back to my Christopher Nolan series. Before I get underway, I just wanted to apologize because due to misunderstanding, I repeatedly stated that Michael from Nova Scotia, Canada, who is on the YouTube channel Red Chair Diaries, was going to do a Christopher Nolan series with me. We were each going to do a video on Christopher Nolan series. But there was a misunderstanding involving messages traded back and forth. And whereas he told me that he was going to review The Prestige because he hadn't seen that already. He had seen the other Nolan movies, but he hadn't seen The Prestige, so he was going to review that one. What I thought he meant was that he was going to review The Prestige after seeing it, as well as the other movies which he had seen before. It's probably been, quite a number of years since he's seen those other ones, so he really didn't feel like doing that. So apologies, Michael, and apologies to all of you who, were expecting more reviews from him. It's just going to be me, basically. I'm going to be doing, all the Nolan films. But of course, anyone who has seen any of these films I'm going to be talking about and wants to do a video response, please do. In fact, I'm going to be putting a playlist together, as I do for all the director series, a special playlist series for all these Christopher Nolan videos. So if any of you guys want to do a video on a Christopher Nolan film and attach it as a response to one of mine, please do. I'll add it to the playlist. It'll be there along with all of mine. So I did Following, his first feature-length film previously, and now I'd like to talk about Memento, which is his big breakthrough. The one that came to America was just like, whoa, this guy Christopher Nolan, can you believe this movie you made? It's amazing. This is my special edition disc copy of it. Normally I don't show these off too much, but I want to show this one off. It's set up kind of like a psychological file folder, like a doctor's manual, and it opens up like this. It's got a post-it note here, apparently as a reminder for Leonard Shelby to watch the movie, and there are the two discs right there. Kind of a cool design. This movie has a really great special feature on it. The movie itself is told sort of backwards. The scenes are not in chronological order. But there's a special feature. If you key in a certain sequence of buttons, you can actually, it will automatically reorder all the scenes in chronological fashion. I'll explain how that works exactly. Memento is a film that, as I said, runs kind of backwards, but not entirely. It sort of has a converging structure to it. The very first scene in the movie takes place at the very, very end of the story, the very last thing that happens within the chronology of everything that you see. The very last thing. And then it jumps back to the very beginning, the very first thing that happens in the whole chronology. There are a few flashbacks to earlier than that point, but this is where the story begins, and this is where the story ends. And as the story progresses, you sort of move in towards the middle of the scene where something big happens, which serves as the climax of the film itself. But it's basically the beginning of whatever took place in this half of the storyline. And it's easy, of course, to tell them apart because these scenes right over here, which are told backwards, are all shot in color, and these scenes right here, which are all in the proper order, are black and white. So what you learn is the main character is Leonard Shelby, and he's played by Guy Pearce. I had seen, of course, Guy Pearce before in LA Confidential. He was great in that movie. Yeah, this is his big star-making role right here, really. He was a former insurance investigator. He would basically investigate people's claims to find out if they were faking to get money from the insurance company, whatever. And a few years ago, he and his wife were at home, and he wakes up in the middle of the night to hear her being attacked in the bathroom. He rushes in to help her, and he is also attacked. And now his wife is dead, and he has this brain injury which he can't form any new memories. This is where the backwards segment of the movie comes into play. The scenes are told backwards so that you are in the same boat as he is. You do not know what happened earlier. Leonard remembers everything before he and his wife were attacked. He remembers his wife, he remembers his childhood, he remembers all that stuff, but everything after that, he has to sort of make a lot of notes for himself to remind him what's going on. So every scene jumps a little bit earlier in the timeline in the second half, and you don't know what came in the minutes before that scene, just as Leonard didn't know. This is really a lot of fun, and it's played for humor in a lot of times, but mostly it's just a mystery, basically. He is looking for the guy who was responsible, the people who broke in, the people responsible for taking his wife from him. And so he's got file folders and police reports, and he's trying to sort through it all while retaining as much as possible at any given moment. He's tattooed clues on his body so that it's like a permanent way of keeping a note. He's sort of aided by a couple of supporting characters. One is played by Joe Pantaliano. His name is Teddy. He's a guy who helps him out and gives him advice, whatever. He's sort of a shady character. You don't know a lot about him. and he kind of pops up every once in a while and offers to help. But Leonard, he has difficulty trusting guys. He keeps Polaroids of people. When he meets them, he'll take their picture and he'll write notes about them, like their name and a little bit about themselves. Well, on his Polaroid, he looks at it and he sees, Teddy, don't believe his lies. That's a note on the back of the Polaroid. So it's like, maybe I shouldn't believe everything this guy says. And the other character is Natalie, and by a funny coincidence, she's played by Carrie-Ann, who is also from The Matrix, same as Joe Pantaliano. Natalie is a bartender, and she sort of strikes up a friendship with him. She helps him out a little bit. He tries in helping her out in various ways. But it all sort of comes down to him still like gathering information and trying to figure out who the killer of his wife is. Now, I like this movie a lot. When it came out here in 2001 in Chicago, it's listed as a 2000 movie, but it came out here in 2001. I ranked it like second of all the movies that I'd seen that year, right underneath a Jack Nicholson film called The Pledge that Sean Penn directed. It's a very, very clever movie. It's lots of fun. It's exciting. It's very stylishly photographed. And it's very, very good, but I have a couple of issues with it which pertain largely to the gimmick of having the memory problem in the first place. Oftentimes, situations seem to be constructed and presented simply to demonstrate Leonard having a problem with his memory. This is a problem that he has to deal with all the time, but it comes off a little gimmicky when every single scene has some memory issue of his. Also, there's a little discrepancy at a certain point in the movie in which Leonard remembers something that Natalie told him hours after she said it, and he shouldn't remember it at all because he hadn't made a note of it at the time. He makes the note of it later on her Polaroid, the Polaroid that he takes of her, but he really shouldn't have remembered that. So it's possible that his condition is either not the kind that he thought it was, or else that's just a problem with the film. There's a few logical issues involving. There's one scene in which he basically hides in a shower, which has a clear glass door on it. You know, there's no way that he could hide in that thing and the person coming in the bathroom not know that he was there. It's ridiculous. Yeah, those are a few minor quibbles. The one kind of major quibble that I have involves basically his car and his suit. Now, throughout the movie, characters are asking about his car and about his suit because they're both really expensive. It's just like, so you got a sports car right here? How do you think that you afford that? It's like, well, probably insurance for my wife's death. He doesn't actually remember. Where'd you get that suit? It's just like, well, you know, I mean, it's just, I'm not sure exactly. So they keep questioning about that. And at the end of the film, where you get to that middle point where that big thing happens I was talking about that serves as the climax, you find out exactly how he got the car and how he got the suit. Now, it's reasonable to it's somewhat reasonable to say, okay, this is how he got the car, but the suit, why he takes the suit, that I don't understand. That doesn't make any sense to me. Why he would take this particular suit? Because again, it seems like it just seems like another way for people to question him. It seems like just another way that's built in the script for people to question him and question what he's done, his memories and what have you, and that he doesn't understand what came before then, and he doesn't understand what he's done previously. There's this line that Teddy has. It says, you know, you may know who you were, Leonard Shelby, from years ago, but you don't know who you are because you don't know the kinds of things that you've done recently. And taking the suit is just something that really doesn't have any justification whatsoever, other than to give people, other characters, the opportunity to say, hey, what's up with that suit? And he doesn't know. So it's, again, a little bit on the gimmicky side, and I would have preferred there to be less of that. I've watched the other version of the film in which all the scenes are in chronological order, and it isn't nearly as fun that way. And by that I mean it isn't as interesting. It's not funny anymore. You know, a lot of these situations are played kind of for laughs, but when you watch everything in sequence, it becomes really tragic and sad. And it is sad to begin with, but even more so. Really hot here today. So anyway, there's my video on Memento. I know a lot of you guys have seen this movie. Please, if you want to make a video attached to this one, I'd love to hear what you think of it. Or if you don't like it, I have some quibbles with it. Maybe you do too. And my next video, of course, will be on Insomnia. That will come in a few days. So I hope you tune in for that. Take it easy, guys, and thanks very much for watching. Bye, Mike.